on to this story now. Aspen Pharmacare's Deputy CEO and co-founder Gus Attridge is stepping down, but the company has major plans for the future, including licensing its own branded vaccine. I caught up with him earlier today on the company announcing some of the greatest results in their history and actually returning to a dividend for shareholders. I asked him how much being the only manufacturer rather of a vaccine on the continent has impacted this past year's financial performance.
The revenue that we generated from the manufacture of vaccines on behalf of Johnson & Johnson during the course of the year was not significant in our results at all. If you look at it in context, we generated 37.8 billion rand of revenue, of which 400 million, so a fraction of a percent, actually came from the vaccine. So Aspen is a really large business, but the amount of revenue we generated from the vaccine doesn't really reflect the importance of the work that was done there. And it is, we expect to be a growing contributor to revenue in the immediate future as demand for the vaccine continues and we get a full year of production under the belt. That 400 million odd rands worth of production was only for about 3 months of trading. So, you know, our business is spread across the globe. We deliver medicines to more than 150 countries.
You're also talking to J&J about expanding the vaccine production and also evaluating, your own license, which will not only enable Aspen to manufacture your own branded vaccine, but also have the rights to that branded vaccine. Where are you with that, and how important is it for you to actually reach that particular goal, which would make you the first such manufacturer and company on the continent?
I think where we are is that Johnson & Johnson and Aspen are aligned in our aspirations in this regard. So Johnson & Johnson have backed Aspen at a time where no one else in Africa is manufacturing the COVID vaccine. And we're very grateful to them for giving us this opportunity. And I think we've repaid that trust in us by becoming a really important manufacturer for them. There has been a lot of press and a lot of observation of the vulnerability of Africa to imported medicines, because there is just not enough medicines made in Africa for African consumption. And between our positioning and our capabilities and Johnson & Johnson's commitment to the cause, we believe we've come with a solution which will assist in moving forward and improving equitable access to medicines in Africa, because the Aspen branded product will be for sale in Africa. So there will be no one who has an option on those vaccines that we produce outside of Africa. It will all be for Africa. So that we think will be a big step forward, and we'd be very excited to be able to play that role. I think there's still some way to go. These discussions are at a principal level, and there's a lot of details in the weeks and months ahead to work through still. But I think it's an exciting prospect.
Currently, there's a lot of work being done by the government and the private sector in order to send a message to those who may be reluctant and have questions about whether to take the vaccine or not. And there's also a debate that's actually raging right now about whether to make vaccinations mandatory in South Africa. As a manufacturer of the J&J vaccine and looking to, produce your own branded vaccine, what would you say to those who are reluctant, who are not sure, who are skeptical and coming up with all these, conspiracy theories that are out there? What would you say to them as a South African company that is manufacturing these vaccines, as we need herd immunity in this country?
Yes. Look, I think I don't want to get into the debate about freedom of choice, because that's going into realms where I'm not really an expert. But what I do know is that all evidence is that having had the vaccine, you're less likely to get very sick and even less likely to die from COVID. If you haven't had the vaccine, unfortunately, the statistics aren't nearly as favorable as if you have had the vaccine. So people need to make their own choices, but they should know that by having the vaccine, they are giving themselves the best benefits of protecting themselves that are currently available.
Describe how the past couple of years since you started this particular company have been, and whether you have achieved the goals that you set for yourselves.
I'm not actually retiring. I am taking a step back from the front line, but I am going to remain at Aspen, advising and mentoring and coaching and assisting with strategy, but more behind the scenes perspective. And there are others that are taking over parts of the role that I have filled in over the years. So I definitely am stepping back, but not quite retiring. As far as the journey is concerned, it's been probably 24, 25 years since we first started Aspen. I do know that today was the 46th time I've stood in front of investors and presented results. So that's quite a lot of sets of results that I've presided over. It's been an amazing journey, and it's not one. If we go back to the beginning, our ambitions were not to be what we are today. It's been growth by increment. We've seen opportunities. I think what some of the guiding principles have been that we have really tried to be the very best that we can be always, and not be fearful of failing, but rather fearful of not having tried our hardest. And that has driven us to achieve the most that we can. We have also had great faith in South Africa, and we've invested in billions and billions of rands worth of manufacturing capabilities, largely in the Eastern Cape, which has enabled us to be a globally world-class manufacturer of the most complex pharmaceuticals. And that is why we can play this role in the vaccines that we're able to. If we hadn't had that faith and made those commitments, there would be no vaccine production for Africa in Africa.
Well, there was Gus Attridge, the Deputy CEO at Aspen